We got news on two fronts involving Native American nicknames in sports. Today, the Washington Redskins have announced that they have retired their nickname, but we don't have any word on what the new name will be, while the Atlanta Braves say they've decided not to change their nickname, but are going to take a close look at their Tomahawk Chop fan celebration. So, Shannon, are you surprised that Dan Snyder finally made the decision to change the name in Washington?
No. And Skip, I said it when it came down and we started talking about who was requesting that he change this name. I said, Skip, it won't be long now. Because you look at the FedEx, Pepsi, Nike request a name change. Amazon said, we're going to stop selling your merchandise. Walmart, Target says, yeah, we're going to stop selling your merchandise also. Skip, he had no choice. So no matter how much, Skip, and let me pull this up right quick, Skip, because I wrote this, because Daniel Snyder, he like, Skip, you remember what he said? He said this, I think it was like May of 2013.
Yep.
We will never change the name of the team. As a lifelong Redskin fan, and I think that Redskin fans understand the great tradition, what it's all about, what it means. So we feel pretty fortunate to just be working on next season. We will never change the name, and that's simple. Never. You can use caps.
He put it N-E-V-E-R, all caps.
Yeah. A cap, but never caps. Skip, no business can afford to lose $50, $100 million a year in advertising over an extended period of time without it having long-term ramifications. And that's what, and FedEx says, if you don't change the name, we're taking our name off the stadium. It's as simple as that.
Yep. And
so he had no choice. Skip, he fought it because the people in the beginning that requested it were fans. And he's like, y'all gonna come to the game anyway, so, and I give y'all a couple of months, and y'all forget all about it. We win a game here or there, and you'll be cheering us on again. But when these heavy hitters said, you know what? Change it or else. He had no choice. He thought about it. Well, you know, we're gonna look into it. We're gonna do what you need to look into. You have a name that people deem is offensive, that's derogatory, and the Native American says it's a slur, it's racist. Okay, what do you need? What internal investigation do you need to give? That you need to look at and say, oh, is it really that? They said it, move on. So, Skip, I am not surprised. Now, I might be a little surprised that it happened so quick. Skip, we're not even 2 weeks. And they're like, yeah, we got a new name. But I'm not surprised in the least that it happened, because when this is almost $1 trillion in corporations value. And they say, you need to do something with this name or we got to go.
Yep.
He had no choice. Had no choice. And guess what, Skip? All that being said, it was the right thing to do.
It's been the right thing to do for years and years and more years. I have run out of air on national TV saying this is just wrong. No matter how you look at it, whether you consider it just an all-out racial slur or just a derogatory, sort of defamatory term used toward Native Americans that goes way back to the days in which we, as white people, white settlers, white government, declared war on the Native Americans. It's just wrong to use it as the derogatory or racial slur nickname of a National Football League team in our nation's capital. I can't make that up, but it happened. And you know the story, and I don't want to go too much back. The original owner, George Preston Marshall, founder of the pro football team. This was back in Boston days. They were the original, they were called Boston Braves because the baseball team was Boston Braves that they shared a stadium with. Then they moved to Fenway, and they shared occupancy with the Red Sox. And George Preston Marshall, who turned into one of the great bigots in the history of the National Football League, said, wait, let's change
he was already that. He just exposed himself once he gave that name.
Yeah, but later he was the last to integrate. 1962 it took him to. He said, how about, let's see, Red Sox? Let's go from Braves to Redskins. Well, wait a second, that's derogatory. So he goes out and hires a coach who has some sort of Native American ancestry to try to sell it to the populace. And it doesn't work there, at least it didn't sell. And they moved the team to D.C., and you know the rest of the story. So the reason I'm pleasantly shocked by this change, I went through that period in 2013, 2014, in which we talked about it every day, all day on television, till I couldn't talk anymore about it because it looked like we had reached another turning point. They were going to lose their trademark. The threat was, we will take away your trademark if you don't change your nickname. This is 7 years ago and then 6 years ago as it kept going on and on.
Right.
So Dan Snyder went on a national campaign visiting tribal chiefs from D.C. all the way to North Dakota. And he gave reportedly about $4 million to Native American causes. And he came back and got some of his former players to become his mouthpieces. And one of them, Chris Cooley, came on the show I used to do on ESPN and just beat the table about how the Native Americans are not offended by this. And then they got backed up by that Washington Post poll. Remember that? 9 out of 10 Native Americans surveyed. It was 504 total out of about 5 million that we have in our nation. 504, 9 out of 10 say, we're not offended.
Well,
they were older.
Did they come from the tribe that got that $4 million? Because it was reported, Skip, that he gave that one bulk sum and has given them nothing since.
And you're probably right about that. But he kept campaigning. We're honoring Native Americans with this nickname. Well, wait a second. What's the origin of it? I know I grew up watching what were called cowboy and Indian movies, and that was about as derogatory a term as you could use. Those low-down, no-good Redskins, we're going to get them, right? Well, come on. You can't call a pro football team that.
And here's the thing. Skip, if you're from outside the culture, you don't get to determine what's a term of endearment. You don't get to... Well, I'm not Native American, but I think it's a term of endearment, so I'm going to call you that, and it's going to be that. You don't get to decide. The culture from within decides what is a term of endearment.
Right, I'm with you. So then what happened in 2014? We kept waiting for the new change. It got hung up in court, and it hung, and it hung, and it hung, and it went away.
It disappeared.
And he had friends in very high places because he's in D.C. He's in the nation's capital. And now... I'm pretty sure he has another friend in a very high place.
The highest of places.
Speaking of chiefs, this is the commander-in-chief, right?
Correct.
And I was assuming that backed by the commander-in-chief right now, he would sort of pay lip service. We're considering changes. And then kind of hope that the Black Lives Matter movement sort of blows over and quietens down. And then he could slip it back under the door again. Oh, we decided... it's still okay. Right.
He tried because the president came out and said there's nothing wrong with that name. It's a term.
Okay, but to your point, I just read last night that there was a letter signed by 87 investors and shareholders with a total worth of $620 billion. This letter was sent to FedEx, PepsiCo, and Nike asking them to stop doing business with the team unless that name was changed. Well, now money is not just talking, it's shrieking, right? And Dan Snyder is getting his ears just pierced by the shriek where he says, uh-oh, now I'm really in trouble. And obviously, one of his minority investors is the FedEx president, and that's the naming rights on the stadium.
FedEx Field.
Okay, you're going to lose the naming rights. Well, you could probably say, well, I'll find somebody who will do it. But after a while, it started to look bad, and then it went to worse because this is what's happening with this country right now. This country is just in a new mood, and it's a great new mood of, hey, that's got to stop. And it started with all the racist symbols and racist behavior. No, we're calling you out. We're taking that down. It's that time. And then we turn to the Native American. Well, wait a second. Well, that's the most glaring example of racism against Native Americans to me, as far as a big public glaring example. Well, it's like taking that statue down. Let's take that one down too, right?
Yeah, and they should skip. And I think the thing is that Daniel Snyder started to realize if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. C-E-N-T-S and S-E-N-S-E. It didn't make sense to him, Skip. And they say money talks, but cash screams. So you talk about $620 billion. That's what these companies were worth. And some of these were, you know, FedEx had its name on the building. What do they pay us, Skip? $15, $20 million a year? Pepsi probably was in the building. Nike selling their merchandise. Do we need to mention anything about Amazon? Jeff Bezos worth about $200 billion. So He had no choice. I get it now. If he'd lost his copyrights, he probably would have did that earlier, because you and I could have been making Washington shirts and making money off it, and he didn't want that.
Right.
So now he's forced to do this. He has no choice.
Yep.
Now, I was waiting for the other owners to come out, but you know, they wasn't going to say anything. They was like,
I mean, maybe they did behind the scenes. We don't know.
When Nike and Pepsi and FedEx and all these other came out, he didn't have no choice.
Okay, quick thought on tomahawk chop. Is that the next thing that should go?
No, the Braves, all that should go.
You think
I think Cleveland is probably going to be the next one to change their name.
I would agree with that.
Skip, what's the tomahawk? Because what do they do, Skip? The sound that they make when they make the chop. I don't get it. You want to, so I will keep the name and do away with the chop. So I want to know, how do you prevent that, Skip? How do you prevent that in the stadium?
I don't know. You just have to make it an edict. You'd have to make it very public. This will not be tolerated anymore. And they would have to look to throw fans out who tried to start the chop. And after a while, maybe people would just abide by the new rule and just stop it, because they'd be ashamed, because they should be ashamed of taking the tomahawk chop as a symbol. And remember, it started, I'm pretty sure, at Florida State University back in the 80s. They are called the Seminoles.
Right.
Okay. Where did the tomahawk come from? Well, it's to me, it's a racist symbol, or it's a sad symbol of the white people coming into this country, government, settlers, and just declaring war on all Native American tribes all over this country. And some of the early wars were fought in the state of Florida against the Seminoles. And guess who